Hello everyone. Welcome to yet another live of PSAI. I welcome you all to the networking and beyond session. Um, Here is a wonderful session planned for you all. And hi, Christina. So please have your chats coming in, and let's be active on the chat as well. Uh, Before we go into the session, networking and beyond, I would like to introduce PSAI. As I introduce PSAI to you, please put in the chat as to where you are joining from, which part of the country, which part of the world are you are joining from, right? So PSAI is an organization which is part of a global speaker federation, where 17 different speaker associations are part of. So I'm happy to share that PSAI is a proud member of Global Speaker Federation. And PSAI happens to be the only one such institution in India where you can network with professional speakers across the world. You can network with them, you can learn from them, and also become influential as part of being a member or being part of a tribe of speakers. I understand many of you who have joined here could be speakers or interested in becoming a speaker, but I've always felt that there should be some community. There should be a, yeah, Kruzina, you're joining from Vadodara. Thanks for joining from Vadodara. We have a chapter in Vadodara as well. So I think there should be a community through which we can have a camaraderie, and we should have some sort of mentorship where we have mentors who can guide us. See, in life, when you have somebody to look up to, right, you can always try and match their steps, however small it may be. Eventually you will be there. So like that, there are several legends, mentors within PSAI, and this community is also vibrant with several coaches, trainers trying to become professional speakers. Firstly, what is professional speaking, Lokesh? I understand the speaking as such. What is professional speaking? What is the difference between a public speaker, a motivational speaker, and a professional speaker? See, the professional speaker is somebody who can actually um, command, pay out for what he gives as a talk. He is somebody who has a specific niche. He's branded and he's well known for the talk he gives, and he is much sought after for a specific talk or a set of talks that he continues to give everywhere he goes, be it local or international. A professional speaker is always much sought after. Now that is professional speaker, and you can yourself become a professional speaker and expand your influence by becoming a member. Sebastian, you are a member of PSAI Mumbai chapter. Good, good for you. I can see your growth through PSAI and your branding efforts. Thank you for acknowledging the contribution of PSAI in your life, Sebastian. Like that, we have several things that are supporting a PSAI member, and we also have something coming up. We have, if you could guess it, PSS 2025. The PSS 2025 is a global international conference where several speakers from all over the world join and share their insights. And these insights, my friends, can take your speaking career from here to here. And if you could only listen to one such a talk, I think your life will change. For me also, it happened in 2019. I have been stoked to be a PSA member, and I've been attending the PSS uh, annual summit every year, and I have seen several changes in my professional career as well as my personal life as well. So it builds you as a professional and also changes who you are as a person. And this is all possible thanks to the environment that the Professional Speaker Summit brings in. The environment is always high. The environment is always high in energy, and you can always get influenced by highly enthusiastic professional speakers who have been there, done that. And when you have a teat with them, I'm sure You can learn a lot. Ram Prasad, thank you. Yeah, please keep putting in where you are joining from, India or across the world. So now uh, we are venturing into this session, which is networking and beyond. And for that, I have two wonderful guests with me here, and uh, I'm going to introduce today one such guest who is Manju Manohar. I have a wonderful profile here, which says that Manju is top 100 most impactful coaching leader awardee 2024, and she's an ICF coach, NLP practitioner, Times Asset top 100 coaching leader, India Prime Top 100 Author Award receiver. She has written six different books. She is a coach. She has impacted 25,000 plus lives. And most importantly, she has also spoken in South Africa, Bahrain, Italy, and UK. So let's put your hands to welcome Manju Manohar. Manju Manohar, welcome to Networking and Beyond.
Here with you at this panel discussion.
Yeah, here she is. Here she is. Yeah.
I think we are
Manju,
meeting after your Malaysian speech. You gave a speech in Malaysia recently as part of the global forum, and after that, this is the first time we are meeting.
wow, wow. It's always a pleasure to meet fellow colleagues, colleague speakers across various platforms. And I'm sure today is also like that for you. And I have always seen you, Manju, as an expert networker. Today's topic is also that, right? Networking and beyond. So you are somebody who is always excited about networking. In fact, I've seen you network in places where I don't even think like I have been into PSS summits. I've seen you were giving a talk last year at Delhi, right? And apart from that, you also came to the AGM in Chennai, where I was presenting the financials as the treasurer. You came there and you still network, right? So, what is the drive to network? What networking means to you, Manju? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Lokesh. Networking is something very close to my heart because I believe that we as human beings are social beings and we need to connect to transform, evolve, and of course, learn to become a better version of ourselves. So, every networking opportunity gives me some learning or the other, some insight from the person I meet. And of course, expanding our circle of influence is something we all crave for, right? In due to these networking events, especially PSS 2024, where I was a speaker along with the global speakers, it was a fantastic opportunity to meet international speakers whom we have seen on YouTube, maybe on TEDx stage, but never face to face. So that is a great opportunity. Thank you, PSI, for organizing such yearly summits where you bring in the best of the best speakers from around the world. I believe that when we connect, we need to offer something to the person with whom we are connecting rather than think of the other way. Most people connect, okay, what can I get out of him or her? Rather than that, if we think, how can we mutually benefit or how can I learn something new from this? That has always been my motto, and maybe that is why I'm so passionate about networking because it's an opportunity to improve myself every single person I meet. Thank you, Lokesh, for that beautiful question.
Wow, wow, Manju. So much insights in that one single snippet she gave. Networking is not about me. It's not something that I try to make a business out of this network which I built. People say network is your net worth, but Manju believes first there should be that relationship, and because of that relationship, eventually business may or may not happen. But the network is basically a relation which I built, right? Um,
Yes.
Very well put, Maju. Any other words before I move on to the next step, Maju?
I believe that, see, when people go for such events, I would say do not stick around to this with the same set of people. I see that a lot of people do that. They have a gang of friends. Even in school, I've seen people. There'll be five friends. Okay, we are from this place or we are from this chapter. We are all sticking together. My suggestion is every event you attend, every session, maybe morning, afternoon, keep switching your seats, and then try talking to the five people near you. Genuinely
Wow.
try to understand what are their hobbies, what do they do beyond business. Try to see them as human being from whom you can learn something. If you do that, definitely, I don't know whether business will grow, but your face will glow because you're learning, you're becoming happier as a human being. So connect to transform is what I would say. To transform as in not necessarily business. Sometimes you may be transforming yourself. One stray word by a person, you can learn more. Tell me more about it. And then you learn something which could inspire you for life. Back to
Wow,
you.
wow. Yeah, yeah, wow. So, once again, Manju, what you said is quite insightful. What I feel this networking game is all about is somebody trying to improve upon something which is already there. So you mentioned it's not just about business development; it's about the personal development aspect. You said
Yes.
about the five people, right?
Yeah.
Tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are. Right? That's the whole draw. And people
Yes.
say you are
The
uh,
average of that quote,
average
right?
five people, right? So
Yes.
with that, I would like to bring in our next guest speaker to the stage, Nina John, and she's also an excellent speaker. And here is her introduction. I have her profile before me. What a wonderful profile. She has been called the communication catalyst. She's a public speaking coach. She's a keynote inspirational speaker, and she has written a book on navigating corporate seas. And of course, she has got an award as well. You can see the trend, right? She has got an award of Mentor for Entrepreneur of the Decade of BYST, handed over by the late PM Atal Bihari Vajpayee itself in the presence of King Charles. So I think all these professional speakers, they have this knack of being recognized for something. Somebody is going to say, you know what, you are the best. So something like that, I feel, in fact, more than me talking, here is the speaker herself. Uh, what's your view on networking? Over to you, Nina.
Thank you so much, Lokesh, for that. Yes, in terms of networking, I would say it's like pretty much what Manju described. I think she's covered a whole lot of ground, so I don't need to go over that. But I think more than anything else, we tend to operate in silos, so to speak. We somebody invites us it starts with something like a rotary or a school function or something like that, and we kind of get recognized as good speakers. But it's only when you get into an organization like PSAI that a whole new world opens up in front of you. And the advantage of PSAI is that it teaches you the business skills, the marketing, and the idea of how you build up your own personal brand and put yourself out into the marketplace, if that's one way of doing it. More importantly, it lets more people recognize you for what you are and value you for that. And in many ways, you can learn so much of the, as I said, nitty gritty of business, marketing, training, the tips, tools, and techniques that make you a better speaker and be out there for more people. And yes, you can make money while you're doing it. So that's what professional speakers is all about.
Wow, wow. So always, whenever a speaker of Nina's presence speaks, it's always insightful. And she has also given us a few key insights where you network so that you also grow in the process. It's not just networking with ulterior motive in the back. right? So thank you, Nina, for that wonderful input.
Welcome.
Networking always puts us across several new people. We get to be introduced to new people which we haven't been. That's what Manju was also saying. Manju, you were saying about uh, change your seats, right? So you are saying about change your seats, get introduced to somebody, and you will be able to get more people into your life, thereby changing your life, right? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Lokesh. Uh, I don't know how many of you have read Harry Potter and have heard about the the soul getting split into multiple parts. I mean, at least somebody would be believing in the concept of a soulmate, right? But I kind of believe that we have so many soulmates across the world, and networking is that tool which, if you use rightly, we can meet all those soulmates, not necessarily in a romantic sense, but where we find that this is our tribe, these are people who think like us, speak like us, they actually act like us. How could that person even read my mind? Because you see that tribe. So I believe that networking is a great opportunity which multiplies our energy, broadens our vision, and also enhances our knowledge, all in just one event. So you attend one event. This is the one we are speaking about is, of course, PSS 2024, and of course the upcoming one, PSS 2025. I've already booked my tickets. I'm sure Lokesh, Nina ma'am, all of you have booked. Nina ma'am would be flying in from US, I guess, by then, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
So we are planning our schedule around that. So that's in February. So if you have not booked your tickets yet, you still have time. You can get in touch with PSI and block your tickets. So this is a platform where you are exposed to global speakers and you see them interact in real life as well. So PSS gives you a chance to talk to them, ask your doubts, even ask them, hey, how did you negotiate that deal? Because sometimes you have doubts not about speech, but how you do that negotiation with that customer, maybe with that corporate. So, all of these things you can do when you are at PSS. But a golden rule for networking is, first time you connect with a person, do not ask for help, because then they will brand you as, oh, this is that person who nags me. Okay, immediately that person will ask for a contract, maybe a business or something like that. You would have seen people like that in our lives too. There's that auntie who comes and then, can you take an LIC policy? You don't want to be that. So remember that while you do networking. Back to you, Lokesh.
All right.
Yeah, wow, wow. So you said exactly what I was keeping in mind as well, Manju. So you basically not only ask how you can deliver that wonderful speech you gave, you can also ask certain inputs as to how you are doing the business, how you are able to negotiate. In fact, uh, Nina ma'am was also saying the same thing. She was also saying that how you can get influenced by people in your own business as a professional speaker, right? So I think the wonderful part about all of this is uh, you get an opportunity. So speaking of an opportunity, let's first discuss as to what are the networking strategies people are using to grow their speaking business. We'll start with Nina ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Lokesh. And I think I will use you as a great example of growth, right? I can remember when Lokesh came in many years ago, quite scared and, a little unsure of himself and stuff like that. But the thing about Lokesh is that he was always so enthusiastic in participating in all the PSAI meetings that we had, the physical meetings that we had here in Chennai. Initially, there were times when we actually laughed at him, but he was like, I don't care, I'm going to learn over here. And he was very persistent. He's a finance professional. He's been teaching finance in different colleges and things. But now, if you look at him at the other end of the spectrum, one, he has attended all these summits possible. He has utilized the opportunities to learn things. And for example, if you say, oh, I know how to write a book, and that's one of the things, for example, PSAI teaches you how to write a book. I mean, before you joined PSAI, all of us would be like, never heard of such a thing. I mean, the authors, it's like J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter. That's a different league altogether. But with PSAI, you learn that, yes, you can be an author too. And from there, you find that Lokesh has started writing books and different kinds of books that he uses, techniques, for example, having a workbook rather than a book. So you're following what is said, and there's space for you to write in part of the book. So those are things that, he has synergized what he has learned in PSAI. He's taken it to his workplace. He's built up his business, and his slogan is maximizing profitability. He's doing that in many ways for himself and the businesses that he is working with. So that's an example of Lokesh and the way he has grown. So I think that's what PSS, being with the professional community has done for so many of us. Back to you, Lokesh.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that few words about me. Yeah, looking back at my journey, even I am like, is this the Lokesh 5 years back, right? So this is what a professional speaker wants to achieve in his life. Like uh, today, I might be somewhere. It does not mean I cannot reach there. Somebody has been there, done that. So if I can catch hold of their tail, please help me, please mentor me. So like that, this is how I started. And I remember several speakers acknowledging my presence in PSAI and helping me out with the time, strategies, everything. And like you said, writing book has become a habit for me. In fact, I'm coming up with one more book for the launch in PSS 2025. Thank you for that opening, Nina. And what I most really like about this entire community is that it's a community that is not worried about any competition from the other speaker, right? So like, you are an expert in something else, I am an expert in something else. So you help me, I help you back, and whatever I help you, it is not going to affect my business. In fact, we both grow together, right? That kind of help is possible when you network with that kind of professionals. And I very much remember how Manju also had a book with in her hand when we had this PSS 2024. She was there meeting every guest. You know what? This is my book. I like that. And I've said one useful word, author. Right? The word author itself means you are an authority in that. So the moment you are an author, somebody will value you over somebody who holds a visiting card. You have more significance there. And Manju did rightly when she came up with the book and was clicking pictures with so many others. Manju, how do you approach networking in conferences specifically? Because since we have seen you, probably audience can learn from you as well. Go ahead, over to you.
Thank you so much, Lokesh. Like I said earlier, I do change my seat, or probably I change the group with which I sit. Sometimes I sit in the same seat, but if they have moved, I don't move with them. I just sit there so that I get to network with a whole new set of people. And of course, I like taking photos with people, so that also helps. And since it also helps us a memory aid to remember people. If you've taken a photo with them, it's easier for us to recollect their faces and of course remember, okay, this. And even for them, suppose we met at some event, if we send a photo of them with you, and then they would be like, oh, okay, now I remember you. Otherwise, if you just send a connection request, they may not remember. The third strategy is, of course, because business cards, I've seen when you give business cards, of course, a lot of people do take them home, but some of them I've seen they leave it on the desk. But if you give them a book, uh, less likely of, at least they may not read it, but they may at least donate it to a library, because I consider books as my babies. So I have six of them, seventh one on the way. So for me, It's like when I have the book, it's like seeking blessing for your child from that person. That's how personal it is for me. So when I take a photo with you, that means I consider you, I respect you a lot, and I want you to bless my baby. That's the book. That's the way in which I take it. Of course, if I have extra copies, I do give away, but usually with the luggage limit and we are traveling, we may not be able to carry too many books of our own, right? So that happens. But I believe that books are a great, especially if it's a book written by you, like Lokesh did last year. I remember still, he gave away those workbooks. He's a profit maximizer, chartered accountant, speaker who's spoken at corporates and for students and a lot of people. But when he gave away this workbook with a smile, it was better than a visiting card. So I would always say, if you can, like Lokesh said, Meena ma'am too has her book. She could bring the book. Definitely makes the interaction more memorable. I'm sure she's going to bring more copies of her book next time. So it is going to make people remember. Of course, people may not be able to read, they may not be able to even carry a book home because of luggage restrictions. So you can even ask them to pass it along to someone else. Even then, the message that you wanted to convey as a speaker, as a leader, as a coach, or maybe as an author will get spread. You could even donate it to the hotel staff, no issue. Let them enrich their knowledge, but it would still reach someone else rather than keeping all your books with you. So, like knowledge, books are meant to be shared. That's my belief. And PSS 2024 is a great opportunity. Lokesh, you showed us that. Praveen Shekhar showed us that. There are a lot of authors. Ram Prasad sir showed us that. This time, I'm sure many new authors are going to launch their books. Yeah, so if any of you are yet to book the author slot, you can go ahead. And if you're not a member, I'm not sure they will allow you. But if you become a member, yes, they do allow you to showcase your books, have book launch events at the PSS, which is the Professional Speakers Summit. And another thing about networking is uh, maintain that contact. If you just meet them and then after 10 years or after 3 years, you just call after the blue, people forget. I'm here, I would say there are people like Nirja Singh, ma'am, she's right now here. And then we have Subramaniam sir, and a lot of people who are watching here. We are really, really, really excited to see you being in the chat. So what I've seen is these people keep messaging. It's not just during the PSS. It's not like once in a year. Please, if you see it's their birthday, if you happen to notice it, please wish them. If it's New Year, please wish them. New Year is safe to wish, unless you have Chinese New Year or some other country as a citizen, then check what is their New Year. If it's a festival they are celebrating, please remember to wish them. So these are all simple strategy. I don't say it's a networking strategy. I would say it is something you would do with your friend, right? Yes, you would wish them on their birthday. You would wish them when it is their Independence Day, etc. So remember to be inclusive. I think that is something which we all do with our friends. So we just need to expand our horizon and think that okay, this is also another potential friend for me, or this is also another connection that I'm making. So with that thought, if we try, and like the beautiful Sanskrit quote says, no, Vasudeva Kudumbakam, which is the entire world is my family. I think I kind of identify a lot with that.
Lokesh,
Would
may
you
I
like to
add?
add something? Yeah, yeah, go ahead, please.
Right. So we were talking about how members of the professional association are, we network, and you were talking about how each of us has different strengths. And Manju also mentioned that it's also a question of what you can give as much as what you can get. And I think one of the things that, for example, in the last 5 years, we've had people showing, sharing their expertise, the master mentor, master class mentors group that we have. Now, each of us does something different. So each of us is offering our expertise to members free of cost. And the PS AI offers you that opportunity. So we've had on sales strategy, how to get onto LinkedIn, how to make LinkedIn your brand strategy, how to do one pagers, how to do reels, how to maintain your brand image on social media, how to build up a social media network. All of these things members are sharing. So if I have expertise in public speaking, I share that my expertise in public speaking. And that I think would not happen in many other platforms. So I think that's what we should really talk about, the tribe that we have in PSAI, and how we come forward for each other and help each other. So I think so that's where actually the networking is all. That's what the networking is all about. What can you give to others? This is what we are offering, and it goes from there. From there, if you get referrals, if you get gigs, if you get other opportunities, that's how your network becomes your net worth. Back to you, Ramesh.
Wow, your network becomes your net worth, not
Yes.
by seeking out opportunity, but by building the relationship. I really
Absolutely.
like what Manju also said here. Treat them as your friends. Like, if you are a friend, you will go back and then invite them for an event. You join their event and you wish them on their birthday. In fact, I saw Manju joining my wedding as well. So it's like you build that kind of community and you be part of the other person's life, so that the other person automatically comes into your life and gives what you have actually given them. Give and then get. Give us game is what they say, right? So I have seen Nina ma'am as a wonderful event organizer as well. So Nina ma'am, you had the privilege of being the program coordinator at PSS23 Chennai and all, right? So now I invite you to discuss about how somebody can build meaningful relationship with other speakers, event organizers, and potential clients, right? How they can do that.
All right. The PSS Summit itself puts you in touch with so many different people. I mean, right from sometimes even vendors, but the speakers, organizers, someone taking part in the summit in so many different ways. And I think that's what it really does. So what happens is, obviously, if you're interacting with somebody over a period of time, you are going to build up a relationship. So again, the same thing happens. I would say, for example, Sandeep Gupta of the Delhi thing. He was part of our deliberations when we were doing the summit planning for Chennai. And now, I can count on him as a friend. And, he invited me onto his podcast and at my telecast and things like that. So that's exactly what we're talking about. And there are so many others. The speakers who come are all, again, part of the same tribe. So then what happens is, you find that after you have met at an event, after you've met at a summit, you can reach out to so many people. And some people actually say, if you want to be mentored, get in touch with me. So you can actually, call up or mail an international speaker and say, may I be your mentee, or what does it take? Or, sometimes it's just plain free advice, which will put you onto the right track or help you in many ways. So being part of the summit is one of the main things that will happen. So,
Wow, very well put. So being part of the summit itself will bring you the magic in your life, right? In fact, for me, the magic has been happening every year for the last 5 years. When I was part of this PSS summit from 2019 to 2025. So this is my sixth summit, and like you said, Nina ma'am, one beautiful thing which I noticed is people refer. The moment they understand that you are into some speaking niche and they are not in that niche, and they need somebody to give a specific talk at a specific place, right? And I still remember Vikajan suddenly calling me, and he said, you need to go and present at Lovely Professional University. So I said, I can, as a finance guy. So he said, Lokesh, I had nobody else in my mind except you. So that unique recall, right? Whenever somebody wants to invite somebody and probably uh, think of an expert, you should come across as that particular expert in their mind. How do you come across as that expert is how you build that network first. Like Nina ma'am said here, being in the summit itself will help us build that relationship, what Manju ma'am says here. So you basically have that relationship building over a period of time, and eventually some thing will happen out of it. And I remember I was able to give a podcast with Vamsi 2 months back, and all that happened because of the network I had built several years ago. And Manju, I remember seeing your picture with the first lady of Italy. So, can you please give a brief as to how it was possible?
Yeah, like you said, no, I always carry a book of mine. Maybe I have 6 books. I carry at least one copy of those. So when I got this chance at the G100 Leadership Summit at Italy, Rome recently, so the courage I got by networking in PSS, Toastmasters, etc. I think that really played a role because she was seated at the front and I was not seated at the front. I just walked up and I sat somewhere in the front. So that's one thing I've seen. You need to move out of your comfort zone if you're networking. Number one, move out of your comfort zone. If you want to speak to someone, it's like, okay, you need to move closer to them, because if you run from the back of the room and then say I will want to speak to you, most likely by then they will have their security and all those people, you won't even have access. So make sure you're seated a little bit closer to the person whom you want to network, not necessarily immediately next to them, but somewhat closer. The second would be, once you get that, at least ask for a photo with them, because most people, they're okay with photo. They don't want to carry your card home, okay, because they worry that, like Sebastian Coutinho from the LinkedIn Live says, you will bombard them with good morning messages. Please, please, please. That's another thing. Three, I mean, he said, if it's a network, even for my friends, I don't send good morning messages. I put it on my WhatsApp status. Remember, freedom, your freedom ends at your neighbor's fence. So if you think, oh, I have one more person and I'm going to send all my codes and all this on a daily basis, they may be really, really unhappy. They may block you. But if you send once in a year, maybe 3 or 4 times when you're getting married, yeah, you can send. When a book is being launched, you can send something important. Yes, you can send. So when I moved nearer to that Italian first lady, I asked her, can I have a photo, because that's respectful. Once I got into her space, then I asked her a couple of questions. She was also comfortable. Then I asked, can you hold my book, bless it, and can I take a photo, please? And she did that. So now the thing is, if you have taken a book with someone and a photo, they are less likely to forget you. How many people would have dared to do that? In that group, 100 women leaders, I was the only one to take a photo with her with my book. There are so many authors there. Space scientists, leaders, CEOs, ministers were there, UN ambassadors were there. But I saw that. So that courage, where do you get? From platforms like PSAI, PSS, because you do this networking here. This is like a trial run for you. Do it. Nothing to lose. Every year I challenge myself. This time I did only 50. Can I meet 100 more friends? For me, it's friends, okay? So can I make it look good for me? My mind likes friends. Or as I said, potential soulmates, all those lost friends in the world. There are how many billion people in India? Across the world, how many billion? In one lifetime, can you find all your soulmates? Very difficult. Come to PSS, find at least there are 200 people, at least out of 200, talk to 150, listen to 150, at least for 2 minutes. So for that, Lokesh, you're right. we should come prepared what we need to speak about. I've seen Lokesh, he will always say, I'm the profit maximizer, I speak about finance. So that 30-second pitching is really important. So I've seen it, people do it very beautifully. Even Nina ma'am, she says communication catalyst, Anupriya, Nirja ma'am, she's there in the crowd as well. So there are people, they'll say, I'm this particular genre, I'm dealing with this, right? Praveen Shekhar, we have Vinay and Sandeep. So a lot of people, they actually say, this is what I do. Esther, she says, this is what I do. So if you can do that in 30 seconds, because they are also meeting 200 people, they'll not remember you. Make that 30 seconds or 1 minute unforgettable. Then they will remember you. And then please don't bombard them with your daily messages. Once in a while, remember to wish them on their important days. Then you are more likely to retain friendship, because I retain friendship with all my friends from school. I mean, first standard, etc. I'm still meeting people. Even now, I go and meet them whenever I can. So I believe that any networking event, if you think this is a way in which I can get potentially new best friends, good, no? It's like speed dating. You can think it's speed networking. That's all. So PSS 2025, I think it's like a big event where, yeah, I can meet more people. I can learn from them. I can evolve. I can actually get something fresh, new ideas from them, new tools. Right? You meet Rajendran Dandamani, he'll tell about 3 tools in 1 minute. You can learn Sangeeta, Harish. So every single person, see what you can learn from them. So Italian First Lady, I was amazed by her humility. You should see that humble look she's put. I was like, okay, we need to learn to be humble and approachable when we become great. She was not having any kind of attitude. So humility is what I learned from her in that 1 or 2 minutes I got to spend with her. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. So you can find your soulmate, and you can meet people in the powerful space, right? So you can become whatever you want to become just by being connected with a network. That is the power of network. In fact, people say there are only 6 levels of separation, 6 degrees of separation, and uh, you are always connected to somebody just few conversations away, right? So you emphasized on the conversations, Manju. Thank you for that. And I've seen when it comes to conversation, um, uh, very nicely put by Nirja as well. You get back exactly in direct proportion to what input you put in PACI, right? So she made it quite clear. Like she is a role model for us as well. She started off with the PSS 2020 in Delhi, and then she became the president, and then now she's part of the Global Speaker Federation, right? So you can see that there is a pattern of growth. You can also become a leader. So I still remember whenever I introduced myself as the National Treasurer of Professional Speaker Association of India back then, people were like, "Oh, you are the National Treasurer." So like that, the eyes suddenly turn towards you, and then that kind of respect comes. And I believe a PSAI platform, you can utilize the leadership roles that you get, and you can become better. So speaking of leadership, I think our Nina ma'am here is an expert on that topic. So how you can become a leader, since you deal with corporate leaders and all, how you can become a leader just by having conversation with them? Over to you.
Thank you, Lokesh, for that. So, rather than how do you become a leader, one thing you need to understand when you're speaking to a leader, what is the kind of language that they use, right? So, one of the, a simple example. Every one of us is a different kind of leader, and a CEO says you should be doing that. Or he or she blames the employees for not getting the target or whatever it is. Another kind of leader says, we have faced challenges in the last quarter. How do we overcome this? That simple use of the word we resets the entire calibration for the organization. And then they talk in terms of how we are talking in terms of leadership. How are we inspiring people? How are we giving them thought for the future? And that is where, we're in a similar way that you were talking about how PSAI helps you to become better, not just as a person, but also as a communicator. And the final aim is to become a thought leader. And I think that is essential. For that, one of the things we need to talk about is in terms of how good is your public speaking. See, a lot of people just take speaking for granted. We've had opportunities. Because we are in a particular field, we've got expertise. We just keep talking. But most of the time, it's not set in a format or a structure that will appeal to the audience. It's not there. It's just, like our lecturers. I used to say that we have three kinds of lecturers in college: most boring, least boring, and boring. So you have to decide as a speaker, are you going to be most boring, least boring, or, not boring at all? But how do you do that? How do you infuse humor in your speeches? How do you add stories? And that's what we really need to understand. See, there are many organizations that are teaching, teaching you public speaking and stuff like that. The advantage of, for example, a place like Toastmasters. Not only does it teach you the basics of public speaking, it also hones your speaking skills. The very fact that you're attending a meeting every week, you don't need to speak, but you can listen, you can learn. And when you listen and when you learn, that's when you lead. So listening, learning, and leading are three steps that you have to go through. And you will find that when you do it regularly, that's when more people will, for example, if you call me a communication catalyst, I would say I have been teaching, lecturing, doing all of those coaching and all those things. But without Toastmasters, I would not have reached this level. So what Toastmasters does is it gives you a platform, and PSAI teaches you how to monetize that platform or monetize your skills or build your own brand or do all of those things. But the basic foundation, please remember your language in your emails, your language, the way you speak on the telephone, the way you speak in public. These are the things that add up to an image. And that's what we need to remember. Learn and practice your public speaking. So do that in any platform that you have and go ahead with that. So that's really essential for both learning, listening, and leadership. Back to you.
Wow. Nija, who says here, we instead of me. It's a good insight that you gave there. And how they come across as a person, right? They could be manipulative, they could be speaking about themselves, or they are speaking the word we instead of me, right? So I can see a trend here where we all are discussing something and then we feel connected towards something together, right? So this kind of connection is possible when you meet in person even more. The kind of energy that we have in an event that we all come across and be a part of, where an expert is delivering something and we are able to get his insights sitting at a place where he is traveling all the way from across the world to give me that insight, right? So that kind of insight is possible by attending several conferences, I agree, but specific to speaking in India is possible if you are a part of PSS 2025 momentum. Now, a quick question to the members who are joining us via chat. How many of you are excited about PSS Momentum 2025? And how many of you are ready to register for PSS 2025? Go ahead in the chat box. Uh, so when the chats are happening, I have a discussion point here. So see, we have several things to catch up as a professional speaker. Something is changing, suddenly Zoom is coming, suddenly StreamYard is coming. So many things are changing. How do we update ourselves? Where do we get that insight from? Either of you can answer. This is an
PSS
open
2025. One word
one,
answer, PSS
one word answer. Wow, wow.
2025.
PSS, I would say PSS because not just 2025, every year. Even if I miss the PSAI sessions, even if I can't do the whole event, there was a time where I paid for 2 days. I was able to come only for 4 or 5 hours, met everyone, said hi, and the best part is the energy you carry from all these great people in that room. You just go, it's like your battery gets recharged, your soul, or the brain. I don't know, it's like something like being in the presence of all these people itself. I think it was Kalam who said in Parliament that there's that famous Carnatic music, Enthirulu Mahanubhavulu. So many great people, you're in their presence, that itself is energizing. Your battery is fully charged for the next 3 months. If you attend just 4 hours of the session, if you can attend 2 whole days, then you're charged for entire year and even another 2 more years. That's how I see it.
Wow, wow. So be a part of a summit where people are present. You can mix in the Sangam and then get their insights and also build a relationship with them where you have continuing source of learning, right? It's not just this LinkedIn live. We have to continue our learning forever. So whenever we have to learn something new, I always look across PSA as a learning space where I learn. And one such event happens to be PSS 2025 this year. And I always attend every PSS. I don't miss it. And I like the word Manju used at the beginning. My schedules are made around the event. So you get to be a part of that event and learn a lot, network with speakers. And speaking of networking, what is the insight that we can give for new and upcoming speakers? How they can grow and mold themselves? Over to you, Nina, Manju, whoever it is.
Is it with respect to networking strategies or is it with respect to speaking strategies? Because those are two different things. Like you need to
Yeah,
learn negotiation,
our
pitching.
business, networking business for a new speaker, how they can grow themselves as a new speaker.
I would say the best way is to learn and observe from the others. Like we have so many great speakers here. So see what they're doing. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Instagram, follow them on X, follow them on Facebook, wherever they are, follow their websites, see what they're doing. Because if you see what they're doing, listen to what doing, and of course observe what they're doing, you can actually learn a lot. And for that, you need to have one three-letter word kept aside. Even if it's a 8-year-old child or if it's a 3-year-old child you meet, can I learn something from them? If you go with that attitude in networking or in professional speaking, I think you'll go places. So that three-letter word is EGO. So let go of your ego to grow. That's what I would say.
Right. So I think what we're talking about is the one question you need to ask yourself: where am I now? And where do I want to be 5 years from now, or whatever it is? Another question that I think many people need to ask is this the path for me? All right. See, when you come into PSAI, you get or PSS or any of these things. You're tempted by so many different things. Oh, you must have a website, or you must have a one pager, or you must do this, or you must do that. Are you comfortable doing these things? How comfortable are you with technology? How comfortable are you into doing all these things? You decide your own pace and then go ahead with all the different steps. There are steps, and this is what our the association will help you with. You look at those at the very top, those who are genuinely international speakers of caliber and genuine metal and thought leaders of various kinds in various fields. Do you want to be there? Not all of us are born to be Usain Bolts or Sachin Tendulkars or anybody else. So you decide your pace. You decide, pick and choose your social media, pick and choose what you want to do, and pick and choose the pace at which you want to grow as a professional speaker. Back to you, Lokesh.
I think
Wow.
beautifully put, Nina ma'am. Self-paced, as in pick your pace, stick to it. Do not compare your journey with others, because the challenges that you go through and changes that you are exposed to may not be what another one is facing. So never get dejected seeing others progress, or never get dejected seeing your own the lack of progress, the pace of progress. Go at your pace, but never give up. Be
Yeah.
resilient, be perseverant, and stick to your path.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Manju and Nina ma'am for those insights. We are well past the 1 hour limit, and I'm sure there have been several insights in this session. And one major insight which I would take away from this networking and beyond session is be a part of a global summit. I was part of a global speaker summit in the Bali a couple of months back, and I could see those leaders changing the way things are happening at such fast pace. And like what Neena ma'am said, if you want that, do you want to be that? That is the question. And I see several of them on the chat saying, I'm excited, I'm joining. And if you want that, go ahead and make the decision. And here is Lokesh, Manju ma'am, and Nina signing from you. Uh, uh, Wish you all the best in your speaking career and see you in PSS 2025. Signing off.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think